What's up, everyone? CR2 here, bringing you another 87s guide coming up for week 8 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2009 version to be exact. Um, Not sure what to expect a whole lot. I've only ran like one official at this track back in 2024 season 1, week 1, way earlier this year, of course. That was the only one I had time for, so I'm not terribly knowledgeable, but pretty confident I could get you guys something that's helpful. Quickly over the weather, mostly cloudy, 70 degrees, air temp, 88, track temp. This was just immediately right off a schedule, click test drive, didn't mess with the temperature, didn't mess with the weather or track conditions at all whatsoever, so probably expect somewhere between 85 to 90 on the track temp. And to my personal preferences of settings, 12 to 1, -4, just want the wheel. What's straight on the wheel is straight for the wheels, so to speak. And then brake bias 51.6. You don't really want to go too low because you start sliding. It's very difficult to save. And for the few laps I've ran so far, just to get a little bit of a base knowledge for you guys, this does tend to break loose a little easy, somewhat easy if you're not careful. So 51.6 for what's going to be our mock qualifying run. Of course, as always, don't be too quick exiting the pits. You don't want to use up your tire life for your qualifying lap just blazing out of the pit exit. So be a little patient. Keep it around 100 miles per hour. Once you're straight onto the backstretch, go ahead and start putting up some speed. And then for turn 3, definitely underdrive it a little bit. Your first lap is absolutely going to be your Q lap. You're up to speed in time. Just note this is a long track to get around, so as soon as you're in for Q, get going. Definitely get going. Break around here, just underdrive it. Let me actually, in case I screw this up, set up our reset point. Then try to get yourself a good run out of here. Careful as it will break loose off of 4. You see a little bit, I gotta fight it there. Just be careful on, don't get to your throttle too aggressively. Brake just before the 1. This is for your Q lap, you can brake really hard. And then just be careful to not overdrive it. Same thing here. And flirt with the wall there. A little bit behind what I was able to put up earlier just in my practice lap a few minutes ago. Brake at the 1. Be smooth on your throttle application. Around that fence opening, turn in and lift. But then just be careful getting back on the throttle. It will slide if you're a little too strong. You see that? Breaking loose just a little bit. And there we go.
55.659. New fastest lap for you.
Could have been a little bit more aggressive going into turn 1 right now. Figure probably pull time for this coming week, depending on track temp, will be somewhere in the 55.5, maybe even 55.4. Qualifying is not my strong suit for this track. So we are going to reset really quick. I hit the wrong button. Remapped it, and I always keep forgetting. So let's pull on over and reset. We'll just act like we're coming out of the pits right now during the race. You certainly will have to pit at some point. 50 laps, race. Brake bias, I'll keep it about the same. For Q, you could probably go a little more aggressive, maybe say to 50. But my personal comfort zone is going to be somewhere between 50% to 51.6. Get as close to that curb as you can. Let's actually set this up for session previous lap. We'll brake a little bit earlier, about halfway between 1 and 2. Little lift off. Maybe a little bit brake if you feel like you're going a little bit too quick. And being such long straights, draft is definitely going to be a factor here. I'm not so sure on the track position factor. As these being single file starts, I definitely think track position is going to matter here. Long straights give your tires a little bit of an opportunity to cool off. So let's see for our first, what's considered 56.3. You could absolutely run faster than that for the first couple laps if you want, but it being the race and you got to pace yourself, I definitely don't recommend going as hard as you can. Little lift off there. Then once you approach your apex, just slowly back on the throttle. Let's see how we are doing. Come on, stupid thing. Auto fuel is now also a thing for these cars. Unfortunately, can't have that checked on for, let's say, 50 laps, so we will have to do a little bit of guesswork for this video. And you can see that fall off already acting. 56.3, we're on pace for probably a 56.6, so the fall off is gonna act really quick for this track.
615.
Kind of overshot my turn in a little bit. And with the 87s, if you feel you're kind of overshooting your apex, you're driving a little too hard, just trust me, lift off to make the turn. Don't turn harder, because that's just gonna scrub your tires even more, and it'll make you pay even worse later on in the run. You just gotta eat the slower turn and slow down a little bit more for the sake of preserving your tires. Be a little bit loose there off of 4. Just be really smooth and light getting on your throttle. You slam it down, trust me, you are gonna spin.
56.992.
Little lift, turn in, and then just gently back on the throttle. A little bit loose off of turn 2, though not nearly as much as it would be coming out of turn 4. This would be, shoot, I should keep track of these things.
57.3.
I want to say this is lap 4 or 5 now of our mock race run. And you can see we've fallen off already a second. A little bit loose there now. So for sure, as you're exiting turns 2 and 4, be smooth and gentle getting back on your throttle. Let's go change up the brake bias. Let's try 49.2 just to see how it feels.
57.558.
A little looser in, not a problem. Felt a little loose coming out of there, in fact. Come on, stupid throttle pedal. Loose there. I don't know if when you're just trying to get below that white line the car tends to get loose, so let's try a little bit higher up next time round.
57.535.
Car felt really good that time there. Okay, not as loose there. Ignore that wall scrape. Not as loose there. I'm very sure I put the throttle down fairly similarly compared to the lap before.
57.65.
Really quick on brake bias, just kind of test around, see what's comfy for you guys, because from what I'm feeling, say lower on the brake bias, you're going to encourage that rotation, and as you get back on the throttle, you feel it a little bit more. Okay, interesting. Whereas say higher, 54, I'm sure 54 is higher than the default brake bias, so let's...
57.465.
I think 51.6 was the default. Yep, loose there, a little loose there. Let's do 50. That's feeling 50 or 50.8.
57.731.
Want to say fuel-wise, 35 sounds about the right number, maybe even up to 37. Now note this is with no draft. With a little bit of draft, you can lift off to say 70, 65% throttle. Could probably buy yourself an extra lap. Certainly wait as long as possible as you can, I want to say, if your race winds up going full green.
57.805.
Still a little bit loose off of turn 2. Of course, turn 4 as well. That time we were nearly 2/10 faster. That's just with proper braking, kind of proper line.
57.636.
I'm gonna say almost certainly lap time fall off should stop somewhere in the 57.6 range, 57.7. Of course, dependent on track temp as well. Don't forget to change up your brake bias in race as well. If you're feeling a little loose going in, go up a click or two.
57.788.
If you feel like you want a little more rotation going into the turn, go on down a click or two. Brake bias is not kind of a magic answer. It's pretty well dependent as well to driver preference, driver comfort. 26. I've got to keep track of this. Another big point is Indianapolis, whether current day version on iRacing or 2009 version like we're on right now, is very single groove. I'm very sure this got patched out, but say a year ago or so, the outer line, not so much wall riding, but say right here, almost absolutely a car width up, was really strong in defending position. I'm very sure that's been patched out now. I mean, heck, alright. We might be onto something here. Let's try that again on the lower line. I'll stay high for these next two turns, but let's do a little bit of a comparison. Try to stay up a little bit high. Let's act as if we got someone to our low side. I am also going to go a click down on the brake bias. This is low line now.
7.473.
Try to keep it as smooth as possible. Don't overshoot the corner. Especially here, runs onto the straights are very important. Okay. That's interesting. I know I hit the brakes a little later there. Yeah, we're nearly a tenth slower.
57.552.
I certainly overdrove that. Okay, so as low as you can go, almost below that white line on the apex of the four turns may not be the answer. because we're testing this out now, and there's a clear difference. I'm very sure I'm not making any massive errors to mess up these lap times.
.471.
Up high, I can get on the throttle a little more aggressively. It doesn't feel as loose. I really feel like I'm overshooting turns 1 and 3. Got a little loose there.
.534.
Okay, so I'm thinking for the races I'm in, I'm probably not going to go as low as almost to that apron curb, so to speak. Very likely going to stay above that white line, if perhaps even a whole car width above from it, because the car feels better up there, which is odd, frankly. Every time we go to Indianapolis, whether IndyCar or now the Real Life Cup Series, you see them right to that apron line. Whereas on here, almost a whole lane up feels so much better.
.875.
I don't have to fight the car at all. See, look at that. Not loose whatsoever. Perhaps on the throttle a split second too early it pushed up, but it's a night and day difference for me. Lift off, a little bit of brake. Even down to the white line only felt pretty good there. So my recommendation is keep your left sides above that white line.
57.633.
A little bit faster than the high line previous lap, but comparably it is faster. It offers you a better run out of the straights. So depending on the situation you find yourself in, defending position is probably high line is going to be the for sure answer. If you want to go for a pass, absolutely, you're very likely going to have to use the inside line.
693.
Fuel wise, you do have the auto fuel now, but very, very sure 9 gallons will get you there. Let's try something with the brake bias. Gonna go down quite a bit, see how it feels.
57.937.
A little bit of the high line entry. Still felt pretty good there. Little loose off. A bit of brake. Be patient. A little bit loose, so I want to say sweet spot is 48.4, 49.2. Let's go ahead and pull it on in. Now note those cones are where the speed limit starts, so we'll go over it again in a moment. I do not have this set up correctly. We'll pretend this is a green flag stop.
10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
Let's see those tires. 81.73. Okay, so this for sure is going to be a little bit of the
That's it, go.
looser side. Both rears are more worn. 81.73 is a massive split, so preserving your right rear is going to be important. Also go up a little bit. Not lethally loose, but that extra rotation is definitely there. Feels really good, in fact. Still loose off of 4, of course. Let's do 51.6.
.122.
So for in race, I certainly recommend down to the white line for turns 1 and 3, but perhaps for turns 2 and 4, assuming you've got the space, you're clear both left and right side, go up a little bit higher. It offers you a much stronger run onto each of the front and back straights. Smooth back on the throttle. Keep it a lane up high. Careful back on the throttle. That feels really, really good. So 2 tires. Let's see what this lap time is. 56.2.
56.231.
Really nice amounts of rotation. Too much there, in fact, so extra click up. Be careful, of course, for, say, probably 2 laps for a track this long, 3 just to be safe. Your right side should be up to temperature to where they don't want you into either inside or outside wall right away. And certainly can't replicate that 56.2.
.742.
let's go ahead and pull it off here. So, just to quickly overview, 55.6. I would say even with that little bit of a higher line, you could probably up that to 55.4 with the track temp. This is 90 degrees now, so let's assume it's still 87, 88 degrees. As best as you could do it, you may even be able to nab down to a 55.3. Qualifying is definitely going to be important. This is, in my opinion, also a track position track. Single file starts, so if you're in the top 5, you can go with the leader almost as soon as he goes. And then just kind of that time loss is going to exponentially increase the further back you are in the field. And I think the tire fall off is still a little bit too quick to where you can't really quickly overcome that. So kind of like with North Wilkesboro, not so much in the same sense, but just track position I feel is going to be a little bit more of a priority. You got to pit at some point anyway for fuel's sake, unless you're just getting yellow. You probably need at least 5 or 6 yellows to really make it without stopping at all. And who knows? But nonetheless, Indianapolis is a really fun track. Key points are be smooth, don't overdrive your entry. If you do, just slow down even more. Don't turn your wheel more to try to make that, because that's just going to hurt your tires even more and you'll pay for it worse later on. Be smooth getting back on the throttle. You saw after our mock pit stop, it was a 8% difference, 81.73, and that's fairly significant. You want that to be even, as close to even as much as possible. So kind of my own recommendations: low line down to the white line for turns 1 and 3, and then perhaps a car width up from the white line for turns 2 and 4. Just it offers you a better run onto the straights. The car doesn't feel as loose to me, but this isn't, you can't do that every lap. It depends on kind of, have you got cars to your left, to your right. If you're 3 wide, just back out, because I don't think that's going to end well for everyone of the 3 wide involved. And you have the auto fuel on now. I'm very sure that'll help. It can be a little iffy in my experiences, not with this car. We had just gotten it 2 weeks ago. But certainly 9 gallons, if you want the auto fuel off, 9 gallons will very likely get you there. And if your race happens to have green flag stops, right side tires is going to be the way. Fill yourself up with 9 gallons of fuel, click on just right side tires to change, and be careful for the first couple laps as those right side tires get some heat in them. Let's actually go back and look at lap count. So lap 14, we did 20 laps. So 81.73 after 20 laps. Could definitely do better on preserving that right rear. You want that preserved as much as possible, as that's what's going to give you your drive off of turn 2 or off of turn 4 onto the front and backstretch. Let's go look back at our pit entry here. So coming off of turn 4, and this is a 60 mile per hour speed limit. Just barely made it. A little bit too extra on the braking, but you don't want to get pinned for speeding. What does that look like in car? Yeah, here's a good reference. So either as soon as you're coming up to this Indianapolis Motor Speedway logo here, Probably brake once you see that closing up to the right side of your windshield, or conversely, because you're already looking to your left, to your center of your screen. Probably about once you see these white lines right here. Yeah, soon as you see those come in to your A pillar, is certainly a safe bet of when to lift off and start your braking. So, nonetheless, I think this is going to be in for another fun week. North Wilkesboro was very fun, kind of depending on the field you got, but don't shy away from Indianapolis. A little bit of a tough track to nab perfectly, but really fun once you get into that flow of smooth lines, smooth throttle, smooth braking, and definitely don't overdrive your entries. You'll fry that right front. Don't be too aggressive getting back on throttle. You'll fry your right rear. As always, guys, thank you for watching. A little bit of a longer video. I got wrapped up in the practice, as haven't practiced this track since the last visit here, and this was probably nearly 10 months ago. But I was learning throughout this whole recording too, so it definitely helps me out. I hope it helps you out, guys, and I hope to see you out in some officials. Thank you for watching.